Huh? We're sorry. You're sorry. We're sorry it happened, and we're sorry your pilot lost his life, and we're sorry for his family. We're sorry. And they said, oh. And they went back home and they studied it, and they tried to translate that into apology. They couldn't. And so he came back to me and he said, our leaders like this, but please, can you give me a little bit more? And I said, okay, we're very sorry. And he said, thank you. And that was a simple case of my understanding their needs, their understanding my needs. And so I would say to Secretary Clinton, you've got to approach each of our friends and adversaries in that way. That's why I have been a big proponent of talking to the Iranians, talking to the North Koreans, talking to the Syrians. It's easy to talk to your friends. It takes a little more effort, and it's more important to talk to your adversaries and potential enemies so that they don't really become hostile enemies. And so that's the kind of advice I would give to Secretary Clinton. I'm confident that she will do a very, very good job.
Hi, my name is Jordan Boatwright, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yo. I lived there once.
My question is, what was it like being under the leadership of George Bush?
I was under the leadership of two George Bushes. I was under 41, father and son. I've been privileged to work for 4 presidents at a senior level. I also worked for President Clinton, and I worked for President Reagan as his national security advisor. Each one was different. President Reagan was a visionary. He really could see where the world was going. And he gave a lot of flexibility to his team to come up with the plans to move in the direction that he wanted to go. But he always sort of stayed a little bit above the rest of us so he would not lose that vision that he had, that America was the future and that the Soviet Union would eventually end. President Bush 41, the father, was more detailed than President Reagan. He got more deeply into the discussions that we were having. But at the same time, he had a vision, even though people say he really didn't. But he's the one who brought the Cold War to an end in a peaceful way, and in a way that did not make the new Russian Federation a hostile state to us. President Clinton, he loved to talk. Lord have mercy. If he was here, I'd say the same thing. We chatted and chatted and chatted, and you know, I'm a soldier, so can we decide something and move? And he learned over the years that he was president that you can only talk so long, and you got to decide. And when you decide, everybody's got to be on the same team. President Bush 43, I've known him a number of years. Personally, we got along well. In most issues that we dealt with, there was agreement within the team, but it was not the same kind of process that existed in the other presidents. President Bush 43 tended to make judgments based on his feelings and instinct after getting information in. And very often he would decide something before we knew he was going to decide it or was ready to decide it. And so he had a very instinctive kind of leadership that was different from the others. After 4 years, it was my judgment that because there were such significant differences among his team, between me and, say, Vice President Cheney and Secretary Rumsfeld and others, it would be better for me to step down and for him to bring in a team that was more coherent and cohesive with respect to their political ideology and views. So I stepped down. Secretary Rice replaced me. All of them were men who truly believed in this country and truly wanted to do their very, very best for the country. But each one has a different personality. For me as a follower, my job was not to try to impose my personality on them. I was the follower. And my job was to work within the context that they had created and to adjust myself to their leadership style. And I did it in all 4 cases. In the last case of President Bush 43, after 4 years, I thought the styles were too divergent, and I decided to leave. Okay? Welcome. Yes, sir.
Morning, General. My name is Paul Warren. I'm from Baylor University in Texas. So, and I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, so country music. First, I'd like to thank you for your public declaration of genocide happening in Darfur. I'd like to know what your recommendation for the new Obama administration would be for their course of action in handling that issue and just eliminating genocide from the human race.
I was very pleased, proud rather, of the fact that I and then President Bush supporting me declared that what was happening in Darfur was genocide. No other nation would go to that conclusion, and when we said to the UN, we think it's genocide, we believe so, and the UN then had an obligation to study it, they did not conclude it was genocide, it was something else, but I still think it was genocide. It's easy to say that, but the solution to the problem is extremely complex. A lot of people say, well, send in troops and beat up the Janjaweed and take care of the rebels. But there is no country, including the United States, that has the capacity to send in the number of troops that would be required to impose order on a piece of ground that is almost the size of Texas or France, and just sit there. Soldiers just can't be sent there to sit there and keep it from happening. So the only real solution is to get a political solution between the government in Khartoum and the rebels. And that has proven to be very, very difficult. A lot of people say just go in, shoot down their helicopters, do this, do that. There is no peacekeeping force coming, neither from the European Union, the United States, anywhere else, and only a small African peacekeeping force. So I would recommend to President Obama and to Secretary Clinton that your major effort in Darfur has two aspects to it. One, continue the relief effort so that these people don't suffer any more than they're suffering now. And secondly, put all your energy into getting a peace agreement between the rebels and the government of Khartoum. And you can talk about military efforts and military things, but I don't think that is the solution. The solution has to be a political solution. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Haley Nagelberg, and I am from New Jersey.
You're from where, dear?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Where in New Jersey?
Middlesex County.
Uh-huh. Are you married? You have a job?
No.
Okay.
My question for you is what made you decide to start the America's Promise the Alliance for Youth Foundation?
America's Promise was started in 1997, and I was asked to found it by President Clinton and all of our other living presidents. And the reason I got involved and have been involved, my wife now chairs it, is because after I left the Army, living with soldiers who are successful, soldiers who have all the food and health care and everything else they need, I then went into civilian life, and as I traveled around the country, I saw so many young people that were in need. I saw so many parts of our country where young people wondered whether or not the American dream was there for them. And so I joined the Boys and Girls Club movement, went on the Board of Governors, started to do other things, and then with America's Promise, we created a campaign for the whole country that said every child in America should have a responsible, caring, loving adult in their lives. And if the parents and family aren't able to do this for them, then let's get big brothers and big sisters. Let's get more Boys and Girls Clubs or other after-school programs so that kids have adults in your lives, in their lives. It's from adults that you learn about what's right and what's wrong. It's the adults in our lives that pass on generations of experience, good experience. And if you don't have that kind of good mentoring, you will fall prey to bad mentoring in the street and get in trouble. Secondly, young people need safe places to learn and to grow. Schools, after-school programs, Boys and Girls Clubs, Salvation Army programs. This program that you're in is a good place to give you a wonderful 3-day experience.